Thank you so much for that. Last but certainly not least, Miranda Ayim, a pro basketball player. She is, get this, guys, she has been with Team Canada for 15 years. Absolutely incredible. She was a member of the 2012 London Olympic Games team. She was a member of the 26 Rio Olympic team. She will be a member of the 2021 Tokyo Olympics team. And she is currently playing pro over in France, where it's still about 29, 30 degrees. Anyways, Miranda, thank you so much. And you are, I should introduce the topic, defining success in uncertainty. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it is still pretty hot today. That's why we're going with the tank top. I'm sure I'm going to be sweating up a storm, but you guys can't see that, so it's all good. I just want to echo everybody's sentiment that we've already touched on. Such an honor to be here talking with a panel like these people. And just, it's always an honor and such a fun experience talking on Zoom calls like these. I mean, over the past few months, I have had the pleasure of taking part in quite a few of these Zoom meetings, as I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well. And for me, at least, a large majority of them have been with teams or university athletic departments or individual athletes. And one question that I've received again and again, and it's come specifically from young athletes, but I think it's applicable to us all, is how do I stay motivated with no real goal or game in sight, with nothing concrete to really work towards? And I feel like that's something, a common sentiment we've all really been feeling with this uncertainty and kind of stress pressing down around us. Like, how do I even operate in such a situation? What do I do so that I'm ready for next week, next month, next year? And to be honest, I've struggled to find an appropriate response to this that isn't pat or cliche, because there's really nothing that I can reassure them about or promise them about the future. Sure, I can probably give them some workouts to do on a daily basis, but they don't need me for that. They can just look on YouTube or TikTok and find about 1 million hits in 0.02 seconds. And plus, that doesn't really get down to the root of the problem, which is looking out into a future that seems blurry and scary and uncertain. And the only answer that I've found throughout this process is to focus on the process and not the result. When I talk to high school or university level kids in these type of Zoom meetings, I'm usually framing this as cultivating your best self, bringing your best self to whatever you are doing and working on those areas where you can improve and have like those 1% margins of growth. We focus on compounding interest instead of big paydays. And that's a skill to develop when we're young, yes, but it's also something that we need to be reminded of, at least I need to be reminded of on a daily basis as we grow older, as the external pressure starts to mount and we take on more and more responsibility, as stress becomes an everyday fixture in our life. And it's even more important as we step into roles of leadership, as people are looking to us to set this tone and to direct the ship. It's all about that excellence and genuineness that you're bringing to these moments. It's the faith that the process feeds the result and not the other way around. It seems counterintuitive, but the result will take care of itself. I often liken it to a basketball game where the score is important for sure, But I'm not going to spend the entire game anxiously staring at the scoreboard, biting my nails every time a point is awarded to the other team. Instead, I'm going to be keeping my head down, focusing on what's in front of me, what I can do, making sure that each decision and action, both physically and mentally, when put together, gives me the greatest chance to get to where I need to go. And glancing up to check the time and score just as a means of directionary support. And this strategy of focusing on the present moment is one I think we should always be employing, because the future, as we've seen, it will always be out of my control. Like, what I plan is always subject to timing, injury, sickness, luck, fate, the weather, a global freaking pandemic. Like, life is inherently uncertain, not just during COVID, but always. And this pandemic has shattered our illusion of control. It's rocked our perception of time, of social norms, our relationships, even our government. It's forced us to find ways to be less dependent on the future, to cling less to future goals, achievements, and plans that we really have no idea whether they will pan out or not. It's forced us to come back down to earth a little bit, to be in the present moment, because at times that's literally all we felt we could dictate with any certainty. And it's actually more than just focusing on the present moment. It's kind of a combination of things. And for those of you who like equations, I've kind of broken it down like this. Momentism, that kind of focus on the present moment. Some people define it as mindfulness, but that has a lot of connotations with it. So momentism plus clarity of values and priorities equals present success. Momentism plus clarity equals present success. Now, what do I mean by present success? I mean a success that you can see and feel right now, not something you need to wait on to come into fruition, but that will nonetheless compound to create something great. And obviously, I'm using a bit of a specific definition of success. I'm not really talking about numbers and percentages or supporters or followers, although that can come as a result. I'm talking about a success that makes you feel proud at the end of the day. A success that highlights your priorities and your values. A success that fuels you instead of drains you. A type of true success that looks different for everybody, but we know it when we see it and we feel it. And that is why I truly believe that success is not dependent on some future outcome, but it is instead dependent on how we live in each moment. The path to true success is in exuding it, not chasing it. And I also believe that this mindset allows us to reach greater heights than we could have even imagined or planned for. It allows us to create and lead teams and organizations and communities that are focused on aligning purpose and priorities, where daily wins create an environment of true success that leads to increasing momentum and compounding interest. So I'm going to ask y'all to do something quite unorthodox in the world of sport and business and, well, pretty much any arena that employs ambitious, driven people. Set aside your goals. Just for 1 minute, I'm not asking you to forget them, we're just laying them down for a minute. I mean, this pandemic has shown how easily our timelines can be shot through anyways. I just want to take a look at the values and the habits that are driving our day to day, the true and present success that we're bringing to moments, not milestones. We're going to take a look at the directing forces that allow us to continue on despite an uncertain future. I'll give you all a personal example. Like has been alluded to, I've been with the national team for over a decade now. I've been to 2 Olympics, but I want to make it 3. And I want that 3rd time to be a charm, and I want to bring home a medal. That is a clear goal of mine. It is a clear direction of where I want to go with my life, and I will make decisions accordingly. That's the level of external success that I wish to have as my career comes to a close. But even despite all of that, I force myself to approach that goal with a light touch, because there are things, whether I like to admit it or not, that affect whether I will achieve my goal. What I mentioned before, those variables of life, like fate and injury and timing, that means that I can do everything within my power and still not reach my goal. The only thing that I can do is put myself in the best possible position to lead to that goal and to ensure that that envisioned success is in line with what's really important. And in order to keep that light touch on this journey to what will hopefully be a 3rd Olympics and a medal, and to help myself define my present success, I ask myself these types of questions like, what kind of mindset am I bringing to practice? Am I continuously working on my craft and making those 1% improvements? How do I behave in moments of great difficulty or stress or fatigue? How do I treat my teammates? Am I encouraging them, building them up, challenging them? Am I being the best type of leader I can be? And on top of all of that, what type of legacy am I leaving for myself, for my team, for future players coming into the program, for the young girls and boys who watch us play on an international stage or who come to community events? The answers to all of these questions dictate whether I will be truly successful, because I'm building a habit and an environment of true success. And as I mentioned before, I believe that this attitude of exuding success takes you much farther than what you can originally imagine for yourself. Like, I just wanted to be an Olympian. I just wanted to play for our national team one time. And if I had made decisions that were closed-minded and short-term, selfish, not in accordance with my values, I may have still been an Olympian. But I'm not sure that I would be an almost 3-time Olympian. I'm not sure that I would still be involved in a program of this caliber for over a decade. I'm not sure that I would have made the type of deep connections that I have. And I'm not sure that my spirit and my strength would have been sharpened in the way that it has been. And I see my colleagues holding themselves to the same standard, like our coaches, our staff, our leadership team, some of whom are here today, all feed into this culture of present success, building a program that will last, a program that is values driven, a program that is so much more than basketball. And because of that, we're already witnessing the compounding effects on the court. And it's crazy because even on a personal level, setting my dial to the importance of these daily moments and infusing them with meaning makes it sure that my worth isn't tied up in that final result or tied up in other people's opinions. And as a bonus, it makes me a better basketball player because I'm less caught up in grasping onto what I think is the best, most desirable outcome. I'm able to move more fluidly and relaxed through my day, both mentally and physically. I'm able to more easily step into a flow state. I'm able to be present and enjoy the process and dig deeper and grind harder. And I'm also able to have a wider perspective, not just on my own path, but what's going on with my teammates and my coaches and my staff. And that above all of this, I'm not waiting for some future success. I'm exuding it instead of being so caught up in getting to the finish line that when I get there, instead of being excited, all I'm feeling is relief or emptiness or a loss of identity that is so common when projects or goals or plans finally are realized and come to a close. And the thing that we often feel in our heart, but isn't always echoed in how we envision and frame success and failure, is that our success comes from that bulk of work that we do leading up to that big moment or goal or award. It's not about the moment that everybody sees and judges you on. It's not about whether you even achieve that final result or not. That's not the crux of the matter. It's not the climax, because the important part was way before that. And that's why failure, when we kind of miss that mark on that final result, has so much less of a sting when you have this mindset of momentism or mindfulness alongside that clarity of values, because you know that you're already successful. And it's a much deeper sense of success. So instead of tying the idea of success to that final result, which is so variable dependent, how do we define success into our everyday life? How are your actions impacting your most important bottom line, your purpose, your priorities, and your peace? This requires a whole other conversation, but I think some simple yet important questions to start with are: what are my priorities and values? And am I just paying lip service to them? What am I spending my time, energy, and attention on day to day? And does it reflect my priorities and values? That's where you find whether you're just paying lip service. It's kind of like an internal audit about building that culture of true success. It starts with ourselves. We can do it at a personal level, in our workplaces, in our teams, in our cities, and it just goes out from there. When your priorities and values are in line daily with your actions, regardless of the result, you will be successful. It may not lead to where you originally imagined, but when does life ever turn out as you imagined? And while the path ahead may be uncertain, as it always is, you can be secure in knowing that you are exuding success now instead of chasing it. Thank you, guys.